in Europe that not celebrate, but honor those victims of communism around the world. But this is the first one in the U.S. that we're aware of. So my name is Ken Pope, and I'm the CEO of the foundation. And the museum has been open. Some of you, I think, may have joined us for our inaugural opening. That was on the 8th of June, and we opened to the public on the 13th of June. So we've been open just a few months. And our museum is focused on two things. It's the victims, remembering the victims, but also remembering those people who are still suffering under communism today. And sadly, your homeland is still suffering under that system. So behind you, the wall behind you, you see we have the victims. We talk about the 100 million victims that were killed, murdered by communist regimes around the world. And we talk about the 1.5 billion people who still live under that system today. Mainly, China is the largest number, obviously, but then Vietnam also has a number of people as well that are still suffering under the system. The museum, this is phase one of a three-phase project. So phase one is the current museum you're in now. We call it more of a boutique museum. It's 3 galleries downstairs and a temporary exhibit upstairs. Next is going to be a digital museum. That's phase two. And then phase three, have any of you had the opportunity to visit the Holocaust Museum?
Yes.
Okay, that's our ultimate goal, is to have something that large that covers all the expanse of all the victims of communism, all the nations who suffered under this system. Right now, due to the size of this one, we can't tell the story completely in 3 small galleries in a temporary space. So we want to eventually get to that point where hopefully every country will have its own little wing or section where we can tell the story more fully. Because they're all important. Every victim, every person that died under this system is very important, and we need to remember it. So what we'll do is we're going to briefly go through the museum. I'll kind of show you where everything is, talk about the themes for each one of the galleries, and then we'll go upstairs, take a look at the temporary space, and then we'll go into our event hall, and we'll have our event. And then after we finish that, we have a lot of things going on today, as you can imagine. So we'll finish up, and then we'll let you guys come back downstairs and spend as much time downstairs in the museum galleries as you'd like. All right, with that said, we'll talk about Gallery 1. Gallery 1 starts at the very beginning. It talks about the theorists, the guys who came up with this horrible idea called communism. I think we all know who they are: Marx, Engels, and then the transition from theory to this ideology and then this system of rule started by Lenin and the Soviet Union, Russia.
Can I say something?
Sure, please.
What's your name?
Ken.
Oh, Ken. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a few we want to say.
Sure.
Our Vietnamese American is the one of the primary contribute to the study. Now I heard you say that we have 3 more stages to finish. And we have about 100 million victims was killed by the communists, especially 1 million of the Vietnamese people. So in the near future, we would like to contribute the money, the effort, and the documentation to build up the museum. But we wish to talk to one of you about it. In the past, we are very close with the Lee Edwards.
Right.
But we hope in the future, if we can contact direct with you and you can reserve for our Vietnamese victim a small place. And that's very good place for us to start. That means 2-way traffic. We contribute and we get some return.
Sure.
Okay? Thank you very much.
That's good. That's what we like to do. Thank you. Okay, so let's go. The theme of the first gallery is revolution. So let's take a step in here. So come on in. Okay, so again, Gallery 1, we're talking about revolution, where it all started with the theorists. And then we talk about all these various themes that are common to all communist regimes around the world. It's a surveillance state. The state lies all the time about everything. There's religious oppression against all religious groups. Anybody who has faith, because the communists really don't feel comfortable with its people believing anything except the guys leading it, ruling from the top. And then state control of every single aspect of life. And those are the pictures that we have kind of showing different aspects of that. And then you have the narrative on the side that talks about where it started and then its progression throughout. And we're going through mainly just the revolution where it started in Europe. And to talk about then in the video, it's about a 7-minute video on the big screen. And on the sides, we have artifact cases, small cases. We have some artifacts from the period of time that we're discussing in this museum. So that particular section. So let's move on to gallery 2. And then again, after we do our event upstairs, we can come back down and spend as much time as you'd like.
Vladimir Lenin, the exiled party founder, saw an opportunity to seize power and launch a communist revolution. By promising to remove Russia from the Great War, Lenin secured passage from Germany back to St. Petersburg.
The people need peace. The people need bread and land. Comrades, we must fight for the social revolution.
But the Bolsheviks couldn't gain power through legitimate means.
So we talk about all that up through the end of the World War II period. So we talk about the different people groups who have suffered under this. We start off with Stalin as he transitions that period, goes around the room. We talk about gulags, famine, it's common to all different groups. And then on the movie on the screen, we have not just the Soviet gulag, but every group of communist regimes that imprisoned its people in similar hard labor camps or re-education camps. So we have the Soviet era, we have Vietnam, we have Cambodia, we have all of them, China, North Korea. Everyone who does this, we try to catalog, and what we do is we tell a personal story. These are real people who share their stories with us. We just have some small displays of different things. We have like the starvation rations that you get in a gulag typically. We talk about the different massacres that took place during these different periods. So again, very, very hard history, very painful for the people who went through it. And it's hard to talk about with some groups too. So let's move on to gallery 3. Excuse me, sir. Come on in. So gallery three, we're talking about something a little bit different. So we talked about revolution, repression. Now we're talking about resistance. So not everybody in a lot of countries, not everybody in these countries simply accepted what was going on. They didn't accept the communist ideology, they didn't accept the communist rule, and they stood up against it. So we had resistance movements in every country that suffered under communism. Vietnamese had a long history of fighting communism with our fellow soldiers. I'm a retired Army officer. I didn't serve in Vietnam, I served in Iraq, but I understand what it's like to be in combat and what it's like to fight for your country and for your homeland. So we talked about groups who were a little bit different than the soldiers. So the great thing about being a soldier is you can fight back. And the people I really admire as heroes are the guys who stood up against it. They didn't have a weapon. They didn't get a chance to fight back. They just stood in the face of tyranny and stood against it. So we talk about different places around the world. And then what we want to show as well is we have this video that talks about the history of communism and about the death toll, and about the people who have been kept captive all this time. So you see the numbers below. It talks about the numbers of people that this system called communism killed or murdered, and the number of victims that are still suffering under the communist system today. Then in the center we have an interactive piece where you can choose one of 3 people who are based on real people who suffered under a communist regime and had to make some very difficult choices of what to do. And we portray that in a series of questions, and you get to play that person, make these different choices about what would you do in this situation, and how would you respond. And then you would see what the results were for that person. Again, it goes like you see China, you get into Asia, Cambodia, Vietnam, and then as we start transitioning out, we talk about the Baltics, and then we have this Remember Us section, And what we have here are people, again, real people who suffered under these communist regimes. And what the next part of what we're doing now is we're getting ready to put numbers on here. And then we'll have a system over here for a QR code. Where you can take the QR code, put your number in, and it'll tell a story about each one of the individuals on the wall. And we also have 28 different languages to talk about just that term there, remember us, because that's what we're all about, is remembering the victims of communism. All the different people groups and cultures that suffer under this system. Again, you guys know this very well, because your families or you personally suffered under this. So let's start walking up the stairs and talk about the more things. Take a look in here as well. And again, this will be expanded in earlier.
Yeah. That's a good thing going to meeting.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, no. That's definitely exaggerated number, but.
No, man.
Đây cũng nạn nhân.
Mình là nạn nhân.
Đây mới là nạn nhân.
Nạn nhân từ Việt Nam.
Thì đã nạn nhân đã là nạn nhân này qua rồi bây giờ.
Milda. Milda. All right. Okay, so we're going to go upstairs now. We're going to talk about a couple of different spaces up there. So please come on out. Thank you. Make sure I get you that. Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're going to go to the third floor, and we're going to talk about, show you the timber exhibit. And what we're hoping is that the good vision about sharing and talking about is we have a timber exhibit space. It's one, we have the Tenement Square up there right now. And that we're going to pull out in December. And then we have the Cuba group coming in next. And what we like to do is whenever you guys are ready, we'd like to have a Vietnamese group put their timber exhibit space up. I think that'd be great. So what you're going to see is the statue. So that's the symbol you just saw, the one in monument down there. And that is a replica of what the students in Tiananmen Square put up before the, unfortunately, the Chinese came in and slaughtered them and took it down. Also, as you go up the stairs, you're going to notice on the walls that the paintings, all the paintings are from Nikolai Getman. And Getman, artist who actually survived 7 years in a Soviet gulag. And while he was sitting there was a small group of people he was with. Somebody drew a little snide remark about Stalin on a cigarette paper, and they found that they sent us into the gulag for that. Because when he finally was released, he started doing these paintings from recollection. And he was hiding that from his minders because people would come in and try to see what he was doing. And he would always have a landscape painting out. And then he would, when they left, he would fill in with the stories of what really was taking place there. So let's walk upstairs, then we'll go in to see the temporary exhibit space. We'd like to see that.
Yeah, I have some kind of plaque or something. Okay. Because I know it's been a long time.
Okay. We'll see if we can find it.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll see if we can
collection
find it.
or whatever
Okay.
it is. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the temporary exhibit space. So, again, this is the Tiananmen Square's been up since we opened, so it's been up since June. It's going to come down in, next month, December, like the 20th. We're going to bring it down. So right now, after the communists went in and took over Hong Kong, they closed their Hong Kong museum. So right now, we have currently the largest Hong Kong exhibit of what took place in Tiananmen Square, rather, the largest Tiananmen Square exhibit anywhere that we're aware of. Okay, again, because the communists came in and took everything down. We actually have Chinese citizens come in to see this part, and they don't know anything about it. They've never heard of this before, because again, the information is controlled by the government, so they don't get to see it. Now, what I will tell you is this space, all this belongs to the creator, so they take it with them when they leave. And so what you have basically is everything that's on the wall, all this space, all the center part. None of the cases stay, that's all theirs. So this is basically an empty space. So whatever you would like to create to fill this space, we can.
Our dream.
Yep, that's our dream too. We'd love to have it. So we can give you the measurements, the dimensions, so you can figure out exactly what would fit, and you can arrange it how you want. We'll work with you.
But what about the spaces? Do you have more space for us, or you have to squeeze it some other place?
Oh, it's going to be right here. Everything.
It'll be right down here.
It'll be temporary. Then once we build the next phase, then we'll have permanent spaces for everybody. Okay, good. So let's go into our event space so we can sit down and we can talk and be comfortable. Get on with do our
What size
program.
of this?
We'll send you the
bộ đồ
dimensions.
lính của mình cũng có thể làm như vậy.
Yeah.
Okay, so please come this way.
Mấy cái lá cờ nguyên thủy mà.
Sure.
Hard like you asked.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you so
thank
much.
you. Yes, we'll continue the discussion.
Yeah, because I have been contact you, regarding a whole bunch of things.
Yes.
Now I said that if you send some proof, document about the operation because I and something that they don't use.
Yes, absolutely. To preserve it.
Yeah, that's good. So please come on in. Everybody have a seat and get comfortable.
Up from here, I would like to invite Mr. Ken off one of the chair. See? And Mr. Viện Bảo Tàng. So, Mr. Viện Bảo Tàng, please sit up on front. And yes, please. I'm looking for you.
I thought you were sitting down the spotlight. That's fine.
I've been looking for you here. Yeah. And of course, two chairs like Mr. Lim and Bảo Tàng, please come up and sit. So first of all, thank you, your organization. Not just like have to have this special event today, but understand that we have some traffic issue over there, so people get lost of the schedule is behind a little bit, but we try as best as to catch it up and over here. I think today is we all here because November 7th, dedicate for more than 100 million victims of communism around the world, and among them more than 1 million people Vietnamese. And still, we are still under the communist regime, so that number will back up for years, because I know that number released back to 1997 when the fall of Soviet and the Black Republic released. But now, more than 2 decades from that day, so the victims under communism around the world, more than that. So that is why we're here at the memorial this morning. And now the most important is this: we have to educate not just generation like me, but much younger, to understand the dangers of socialism or communism around the world, to prevent that going to happen again. history is something like, to me, it's like the teacher. The future is like an envision. Without the history or the past, we cannot have the present or the future. So with Father and you, I would like to once again, from the bottom of my heart and also on behalf of the young generation of the Republic of Vietnam, we thank all of you be with us today. Thanks again. Thank you very much. And first of all, I would like to introduce Mr. Ken Pop. You already know him, so he will come up and say a few words about the mission, and then he can share with us. And then we follow up with the national anthem, one moment, the moment of silence. Right now, in this room, I would like the moment of silence is just for the Vietnamese. Over there, we dedicate for the people around the world. But right here at this moment, when we do it for the Vietnamese. And then we will have a short video clip from young generation, like my niece, my nephew, they do a very good documentary of one of the tragedy caused by Vietnamese communism. And then we follow up with a Q&A. I hope that you can help generation, you can see that my age. They come from all of different places today because they want to contribute to have the exhibition for the Vietnam people. So for this come up. Thank you.
Well, first of all, I've already introduced myself, so I won't do that better. Okay. So my trusty event organizer always helps me make sure I'm using the microphone the right way. I just want to thank you again for coming. This is really a special event. I have a lot of friends who are from the U.S. military who were Vietnam veterans that kind of taught me the right way when I was growing up. So I got to know some of the Vietnamese community through them and a few other friends. So really, it's an honor for you to be here today. And I just want to welcome you on both my behalf and Ambassador Grimberg and our co-host today, the Republic of Vietnam Next Generation. So we hope you all enjoy the brief tour of the museum downstairs. Again, it's a boutique museum, jewel box museum downstairs. Again, we have the Tiananmen Square Massacre Exhibit 2. We hope that becomes, in the not too distant future, a Vietnamese contemporary exhibit that we would like to share their story there. Some of you know that DOC was established to tell the history and to teach the truth about communism through the unanimous act of Congress that was signed into law by President Clinton in 1993. Today is the 7th of November, and marks the National Day of Remembrance as we honor those billions of victims of a failed ideology and communist rulers determined to impose their vision of cruelty and violence on their people. You saw that in a lot of cases firsthand. Nearly 40 nations like yours have suffered under communist rule. As the museum downstairs has illustrated, communist regimes have killed more than 100 million people. We think that number's low, and we're going to do some research to find out what the real number is. They've enslaved billions more, and still today, 1.5 billion people still live under this system. That is why VOC exists, to tell those stories, to tell your story. Sadly, the Vietnamese community knows all too well the true nature of communism. Some in this room have personally suffered directly at the hands of the Vietnamese communist regime. And all of you know someone or have family members who have suffered and died in the long Vietnamese struggle with this destructive ideology system rule. Okay, if you think about the massacre at the city of Hue, thousands killed fleeing to Laos from the Central Highlands, the boat people, the brutal treatment of our American soldiers who were POWs there during the war, during our shared fight against communism, demonstrates the truth, not just about the Vietnamese experience with communism, but also all communist regimes around the world that have imposed this ideology on their people. So VOC and our friends with the Republic of Vietnam Next Generations want to place communism where it really belongs, on the ash heap of history, so where no country has to experience this anymore. And we do that through education, through research, coalition building, working together with your groups and other groups to remind those We are a foundation committed to those who fought against communism and those who are still seeking freedom in their countries today. And also the human rights and human dignity they should have, but they don't in so many cases. So again, I welcome you here at VOC. The Vietnamese community has been a great partner, a great supporter of our foundation. You mentioned already the support that you gave us to our monument that you visited this morning. You've also supported financially this museum, and we really appreciate that. We thank you for bringing your group here. It's great to share this day, this day of remembrance, with a group of people who truly understand what it means. So we welcome you and your families and your friends to come visit us anytime. You're always welcome. I know that the RVGN has put together a good program for today, a great program. I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of it, sharing it with you, and answering any questions you have about our museum. So again, thank you and welcome.
Thank you, sir. And before we move it up to the next part, I would like to shortly introduce once again, sitting in front of us, this gentleman, the Vietnamese American, I would say the anti-communism Vietnamese American. That's more clear that way. Yeah. Mr. Đinh Hùng Cường, Mr. Đoàn Hữu Định, and Mr. Nguyễn Mậu Trinh, all of them been contribute a lot, not just to our community, but also to the Victim of Communism Foundation. And they are represent for the first generation. And we, at the next generation, we will, I don't know if we can do like that, but we hope with your help we can do it, make things happen here. So the next one I would like to do is like a special moment for all the Vietnamese victim communism. So this is the moment of silence and the flag ceremony. So I would like to invite all you stand up and we play the national anthem in a moment of silence. The national anthem of Vietnam.
Cộng sản ơi, quốc gia đến ngày giải phóng, lòng cùng đi sinh cái gì đằng sau, vì tương lai quốc dân cùng sống phá khói lên, làm sao cho núi sông từ nay lúc thứ bảy cho anh thời trần giao.
This moment of silence is not just for the victim of